Hello, we'll try to get this done as quickly as we can. It's really not a presentation, just more of an announcement. And actually, I wish I could say a little bit more. You'll notice on this first slide here, I'm announcing something to be determined. Well, before this meeting, about yesterday, it was hopeful that we had an actual date and time, but it looks like we're going to have to postpone a little bit longer. So, let's see, is this the right one? There we go. The plan for the meeting that we want to do, a web performance seminar, is basically a two-part course, if you will. The first hour or so, and I really don't know how long it would take. These are kind of the estimates of it, but it would be within 2 hours. It might be less if things went a little bit faster. But would be first to do an overview of web business performance management and how that ability could be grown in your organization. And then the second part would be a case study from Franchise Tax Board. Excuse me, this is the part we're having a little bit of difficulty scheduling. Franchise Tax Board is in the middle of their tax season, and so that's basically put things into a difficult time for them to be able to prepare, just that's the way I could put it. So that's why we're being delayed a little bit in it, and I'll speak a little bit more about that shortly here. So the thought is that we're going to be talking about the different levels of maturity about managing your web business performance. What would be involved in those levels? How would you be able to detect at what level you're at, and how you can move forward in a greater maturity in your organization, and how you manage your web business performance. And I'm emphasizing that business performance because it seems like no matter how much I say this, people say, well, I've got my server person will send to this. And no, we don't want the server person. This isn't about, how many hits are being ticked off on your server. This is about managing it from a business perspective and basically reducing your costs and increasing your ability to reach your audiences. So it's business performance. It's a very different way of what we're going to be doing and presenting. It's not just about Google Analytics. It's about utilizing that as a tool to increase your performance of how you are leveraging the web channel to reach your audiences. As an example, one of the higher levels to get to is we talk about is this cross-channel optimization, and this is just an example page out of the presentation. We'll be looking at your website performance. You see on the left side there, it's showing you a flow version of Google Analytics. You can see a person moving from basically their basket to their checkout point there, and you'll see there in that display there on the left-hand side that you've got a whole bunch of drop-offs. And so one of the things we'll be discussing, well, what would happen if you increased or decreased those drop-offs so more people got out to the checkout point, so you increase the amount of people being successful in using your web channel, and what would be the impact on your other service delivery channels, for example, your call center or your field office. And then, of course, what would that mean in terms of reduction of costs? So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about, to the ability to be able to compare these things ultimately. And so it's not just about even the web. For example, just as a quick briefing, Google Analytics gives you the ability to embed analytics into everything, into your applications that are used in your call center and your field office. So now you can get a holistic view of the whole thing and see the impacts across all those different channels. That's where we'll be going in that presentation. But one part about this, I talked about there's 5 levels in this that we're going to be talking about. The problem is that most of us are around a level or 1 or 2, and there's a reason for that, is because in order to get to the next level, you start introducing the word decision. Level 3 says some analytics-driven decisions. In order to make decisions, in other words, a decision is to change something that you're doing now because you've measured it and you figured out there's a better way to do it. You have to have decision makers involved. So this presentation we're going to be doing isn't just for webmasters. It's critical that the people that we want to be able to see come attend are going to be like your PIOs, your CIOs, your executives, and of course your managers, webmasters, anybody who has a decision-making capability relating to your web environment and what gets published out there or what you change out there. Because if we don't have those folks involved, there's really no point in doing the seminar. Because if all we're doing is giving you tools to report on, then it really doesn't do any good. It's just like a neat little chart with colors on it, and it never makes any impact on our business. So this is really about engaging your decision makers in a measurement methodology, if you will, or culture at your organization. So with that said, this is why it's so important, and we're delaying this as far as doing this seminar yet, is that we really feel like Franchise Tax Board needs to be involved, because this organization, as far as government agencies amongst us, is the one who has embraced it the most from a business standpoint, measuring and maturing their organization to make business decisions based on what they're measuring. And so they have a governance that they brought in, and a number of things that factor, and they're still not where they want to be. They feel like they got a long ways to go, but quite frankly, after talking to a number of different agencies, they're way beyond most of the rest of us in this effort. Another reason why I feel like this is important, having done this for years in terms of dealing with people and trying to get organizations to embrace a new way of doing things, or technology or otherwise, if you don't get executives believing that this is something that government can do, it's usually the thought is, well, businesses do that because they're driven by profits, but we really don't have to do that. Franchise Tax Board here, I believe, is a case in point that helps to bring home the story that, yes, there is an enormous value to you as a government agency to do this, and this is what they've learned. So I feel like the case study is an important aspect of this seminar, and I really felt like it'd be kind of, it would be cheating in a sense, the effort, if we didn't have these at least close together, if not in the same seminar. I don't know how people feel about that here, but I could go forward and do the presentation on the web business performance without Franchise Tax Board, but I myself personally, based on experience, I feel like they should be there with us. How do the rest of you feel? Do you feel that that's going to take to convince your executives too to have a government agency do a presentation? I see a show of hands that feel like that should be that way. Are there? How about a show of hands that feel like it's not necessary? Okay, nobody seems to feel that way. Okay, well, good. So we're going to still work with Franchise Tax Board to try to bring them on to have them present at the same time, because I feel like I just know how the culture is in government. If you don't have that type of thing to put before your executives, often it just gets put off into a shelf in their mind as something that private enterprise does, but government can't do, or will never be able to accomplish. So anyway, that's what we're planning on doing. And unless there's any other questions, it was just an announcement, really, of that part.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm curious, the outreach in order to get people interested in attending, are you relying on us to go back to our management, our PIO and CIO, or is there something?
You are one of those channels that we are relying on, yes.
Only channel?
No, we actually, through GovOps and the Public Information Officer there, she is very much on board with this, and she has contacts with a lot of the PIOs. So that's one channel we have of reaching, especially the PIOs. Now the CIOs, I don't know that we have that as well. Are there any other suggestions of ways to do that? But we're looking, part of the reason why we're engaging you is because we feel like some of you have those channels. Yes. The CIO Academy or Forum?
The Academy is forum.
Uh-huh.
The Academy is coming up sometime this month, I believe.
Okay.
The forum meets quarterly, and that is a perfect spot to make the announcement.
Okay. Okay. Quarterly at the beginning of the quarter? When do they do it in the quarter? At the beginning of the quarter, or the end, the middle?
We just had, well, the December meeting was canceled because of superstorm. And it just happened last week, so the next one is probably going to be 2 months away.
Okay. The question that was asked is whether the a channel to reach the CIOs, and that there's the CIO forum, which is done quarterly, and maybe that'd be the right time to do it, because that'd be about April, and then hopefully Franchise Tax Board would have an idea of when they would be available at that point, because their tax season's almost coming to an end, hopefully, or shortly thereafter.
She may make an announcement there.
Okay. Michael's making notes up here about that. The other question that I didn't mention for those that are on the webcast is that it was asked about the webmasters. Yes, we are hoping to have the webmasters reach their executives and all. That's one of the channels that we're trying to go through. Was there another question? No?
It was her question.
Third question. Okay. So no more questions? Okay. Thank you.